Welcome to Critical Thinking with Miller's Minions. Today, I, Brooklyn, will be talking about having faith in the unseen. I've always tried to find the meaning of life, but really, as I've grown older, I've learned that life's meaning, maybe, just maybe, isn't as complex or complicated as we think. But more or less, its meaning can be found in the unknown through exploration or creativity, and sought out in the everyday joys. The simple pleasures, like the smell of coffee, or the sound of rain, sharing late night laughs with your best friends, or watching the morning sun reflect through the window. Those still, small moments. Now, the truth is, neither you or I will ever have a distinct, certain answer to this mystery. And, to be honest, I don't know what the purpose is for us to be here, or why life feels so unfair sometimes. But what I do have is a little something called faith. Faith, in simple terms, has been defined as having complete trust and confidence in someone, or something. And the truth is, we all have a faith in something. Yes, even you, even if you don't realize it. Especially if you don't realize it. There are many things outside of God that us humans may put our faith in, like having faith that the sun will rise each morning, or having faith that the grass, flowers, and plants will grow come springtime, faith that the chair we sit on won't break, or faith in the pilot of the plane we travel on, trusting that we won't crash. You see, faith is about trusting in something greater than yourself. And, well, sometimes that can be scary, especially in a world full of uncertainty, heartache, and confusion. We tend to like to be in control. But that, my friend, is the whole point of faith. You surrender. When we go to sleep each night, we have enough faith to trust that we will wake up the next morning and continue facing the world and living our lives. But has it ever really been certain that we will? We trust every day that the air in our lungs will continue to flow, and trust that our hearts will keep beating, allowing us to continue to breathe. Faith also requires that same level of trust. Life comes with many joys that increase our faith, but also many uncertainties that test it, like not getting into the university you wanted, or losing your closest friend, getting your heart broken, or starting a new job you don't know if you'll like. At the end of the day, we wouldn't get these experiences without taking that leap of faith. At least, that is how I've seen faith in my life, something that excites me and pushes me to be the best version of myself, not just for me, but for others too. Without the fear of failure, we would never experience the fullness of joy. I can't exactly pinpoint the exact moment when I found my faith. Really, it's always sort of felt like it's followed me around my entire life, in my back pocket. Almost like it has always been there, just waiting to be let out, like a butterfly in a chrysalis. It starts off in a cocoon, and eventually it develops into a butterfly that spreads its wings. I like to think of my faith journey that way. I didn't always have a strong faith, but I always knew that God was real. The first time I prayed was when I was 6 years old, and you're probably wondering, what would a 6-year-old have to pray for? Well, I prayed for a cat, and what do you know? The next day, 2 cats went on sale, and they became a part of our family. Perhaps a silly example, but to a 6-year-old, it was a pretty big deal. From going to church with my grandma every week since I was 7, or meeting some of my lifelong best friends at a church retreat, God has followed me around my entire life. You often hear of people with these miraculous near-death experiences and turning to Jesus, or having a supernatural and literal encounter with God, but I never really had that. I was just a cocoon, waiting to get my wings, and a heart that wanted more than what the world was giving me. a curious child, seeking for more answers, developing a butterfly the more I learned to trust. As much as I value faith in my life, I also value the free will of humans, and I've learned there are drastic differences between faith and religion. To put it in simple terms, in my experience, religion likes to tell you all the things you are doing wrong and what you need to do to fix them. But faith alone, without the rules or requirements, doesn't ask for perfection. You can come as you are, alone, broken, or ashamed. I've always liked to think of it as like a hospital. You don't try and get better before going, but instead, you go to be healed. God to me has and always has been a healer, the ultimate love. And I believe that love is all around us, which for me means God is all around us and within us. I think for me and for a lot of people, faith has often developed through experiences. Having faith in something you can turn to when you feel hopeless, lost, or have hit rock bottom. And we all go through these experiences of loss, heartbreak, and tragedy. But well, I've learned that it's just a part of life. Some may say that it's not fair, and I can agree. But I believe that without going through pain, we would never really get to experience true joy. There can't be light without dark first. Without the scars, we'd have no story. Everything happens for a reason is a common phrase that people use when referring to moments in their lives. You and others may say that this is simply just a coping mechanism to deal with the unfortunate events that life throws at us. But I've learned it to actually be true. Because everything that I've seen as a loss in my life at the time turned out to be a gain in the end. Often, we don't necessarily get what we think we want, but really it's because we deserve better. Sometimes, we ask God to bring us just one flower, when He has already planned for us to have the whole garden. When I look around at the world and see its unique and so intentionally handcrafted design, I see the love that was poured into it. And I believe that is what God is for us in our lives, the beauty that we see in others and life. A rock, foundation, and something you can always turn to for help if you need. So no, I don't believe in a big scary man in the sky who is going to send me to hell if I don't pray at least 3 times a day. That doesn't sound a whole lot like love. I'd like to think of God as like the wind. You can't see it, but you know it's there. You feel it. I've seen my faith as a savior and something that is always there to help. A still, peaceful presence that guides me every day. My lighthouse. That comes as a refuge when I need a place to hide and to just sit still and be quiet, away from my own thoughts. Now, I don't know about you, but I find myself getting tired easily in my life. I get tired and worn out when I work hard and still don't get the results I feel that I deserved, or when I give my 100% to someone who only gives me 50. I've learned what a blessing it is to be tired from what I believe God has called me to do, which is to not give up. Continue to love and forgive, even when they don't deserve it. Keep on giving, creating, trying, winning, losing. Cry when you need to cry. Laugh, even at the little things. And most importantly, believe. Never stop believing, even when it makes no sense, and even when there are a million reasons why you shouldn't. That is what my faith has always been about. It's about choosing to live a life separate from what the world tells you, choosing a different path and continuing to walk in it every day. Living my life with a strong faith in God hasn't meant that I've been immune to difficulties, and it won't mean that for you either. But instead, we can be given peace within them. Sometimes we don't get what we want, but more often than not, we get something even better. Now, if we're lucky enough, we actually end up getting what we wanted. But the catch is, it's not always what we imagined. And that is the beauty of trust and having faith. I can confidently say that I have grown my wings and developed into the butterfly that the cocoon version of me hoped for. In darkness, my faith is what brought me light. I give God 5 stars. Thanks for listening to Critical Thinking with Miller's Minions.
It's about time that I get my way, steamrolling whatever I see. Despicable me. I'm having a bad day. If you take it personal, that's okay. Watch, this is so fun to see. Despicable me.